put a label on it, even if it doesn't change the circumstance. Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. It is a Taco Tuesday. We know that taco now has two meanings. Instead of just the delicious Mexican street cart food that we eat when we're just at a street parade or something that is fun, or on Cinco de Mayo, Trump always chickens out. That is what they're saying taco means. So happy Taco Tuesday. Welcome in, Linda Gamble. It is so good to see you. Happy Tuesday, Sandra P's GenXtra. Thank you so much. This is kind of an impromptu live, so I really appreciate you being one of my moderators, being in the chat, and listening in as you can. Thank you so much. So I wanted to just have a quick political discourse, and if we decide to, we'll go into some fun topics if we have time for that. But there's so much in the news, I just wanted to cover it a little bit. I talk about it to friends, some relatives, but I also wanted to talk about it with my subscribers, who I also consider friends and relatives. And yes, anything I use or share is going to be covered under the Copyright Act, Fair Use, Copyright Act of 1976. I'm going to let that banner run throughout in case I forget to mention again, but I would also like to say the statement, everything is alleged, and in my opinion, and we'll just discuss a few topics. Good morning, Ophelia Burkhalter. It is so good to see you here during the live. Linda Gamble, one of the moderators, is already here. This lovely couple, I'm refraining from breaking out in song. I miss you. I do. I miss them. I miss both of them, but we don't have to miss them because they are living their best life. They're minding their Black-owned business. They're having a wonderful time when most of the rest of us are panicked to no end. But we know how hard they worked when he was in the Oval Office and she was on one of the hardest working jobs in the country, if you do it right. She was our forever First Lady and subject to so much scrutiny while she was trying to raise her daughters, trying to support and breathe life into her husband. Luckily, she had her mom, rest in peace to Mrs. Robinson, had her there. That 3-generational household, groundbreaking, had her mom with her in the White House. And it was the most peaceful, prosperous years of my life. I just love everything that President Obama brought to the country as president. And the fact that the people that used to sit up and fight him like a dog every step of the way, I know they pray for those times when that man was there. And anybody who says they don't, they are lying like a dog. Linda Gamble saying, I'm praying Obama will run in 2028 for president. The first point of, what do we call it? Contrarian. Polite contrarian. I actually don't, Linda Gamble. I do not. There's a 2-term limit. I don't like when people float Trump is 2028. And I don't want our beautiful Barack Obama to be used as the cleanup king to these people who they knew this man was going to get in there, make another mess. Let me speak to Mama B's, our moderator. Came in, said, Grand Rising, Sandra P., Linda Gamble, chat, mods. Great day, Ophelia, Grand Rising. So she's welcomed everyone in. We've all spoke to each other. Linda Gamble wants to enlist Barack Obama back. Says she'd love to have him in 2028. And I'm saying, well, I really don't feel I would like that. He's going to be the cleanup man. Thank you for saying that, because that's going to bring up one of the articles that I am reading. And I titled it in here, He Did It. Let me take this lovely picture down, and I'll show a few more as we go through. Okay, let me go in. I removed that. Okay. So we remove that, and then there is a picture in here, an article in here about the U.S. Treasury. I think it'll work well if I put it up here. Ooh, I'm good. There's a jump scare in here, y'all, a jump scare. So I have to give you a trigger warning because I don't want you to be afraid when you see this. So just continue to speak to each other in the chat. And I thank you all so much for being here again during Sandra P's GenXtra Live. So I have the article on my phone, so I came better prepared today. A lot of it is just the technical side of it that I'm still working on. Received a little bit of coaching, believe it or not, but I'm a hands-on person, so it comes at my own pace. Okay, here's the window. Again, excuse this jump scare. Whoa, Lord. I need my sage back here. Mama say, Mama sa, Mama kusa. Mama say, Mama sa, Mama kusa. I'm trying to put in a little levity and be a little fun because, y'all, this is just terrible. But I said he did it. The Treasury, and this is very important. It's a serious topic. The Treasury just declared the U.S. insolvent. The media missed it. Y'all, I don't think the media missed it. I think they're covering for this man because they did so much, in my opinion, to help him get reelected. I'm not going to read the whole article because we are all very smart here. We can go and find it if we want to know more and read it, but it is in Fortune. Fortune will actually keep trying to sell you something or have you sign up. I'm not buying any new media. I watch a lot of news and I get a lot of things from if it is free. So I do like Fortune. I do like the BBC. Al Jazeera is another one. It's unfortunate you have to have a lot of international news in order to get true news. El Pais, E-L, and then P-A-I-S, but they have it in the English language version. And there's a lot of different sources on YouTube as well. Now, just be careful, as we know with the sources on YouTube as well, you see an opinion channel like mine, they should be referencing real sources. So I stick to the larger platforms. I actually love this t-shirt I'm wearing it's pronounced narrative. The K is a play on narrative because it's Karen Hunter. She was a professor for years at Hunter College. She has a thriving radio channel on Sirius XM, which is channel 126. That's Urban View. She has cultivated that channel where she chose every host there. We lost Mr. Joe Madison a few years ago, but he would start out first thing in the morning for hours, probably 6 to 10 or so. We got Clay Kane has his own show, Lareed Daniel Favors. These are all either journalists, professors, writers, people that talk to you about the news. And that is important because we know that sometimes you can't trust the news. Joy Reid was fired by CNN. I watch her on her platform. Don Lemon was fired. I watch him on his platform, both over here on YouTube. Also, Roland Martin Unfiltered. When I can stand that loud talking, I'll watch him as well. I like to tease about Roland's sound. And let me see a little bit more of what everybody said they read and listen to. I don't like it either. I love Obama, but they use him as an excuse to vote for Trump and racism. Yes, Mama Bees, the 2020 people definitely, we told them what it was going to be, but they knew that they were voting for him again. There are people that voted for him 3 times, because remember in 2016, he ran against Hillary, and it was just the misogynist could not stand to see a woman in that type power, even though she had been first lady. As I said, if you're a working first lady, you can get a lot done. And Hillary Clinton did a lot to push healthcare from her East Wing. She really did. It's not like Melania tearing things down and making ugly decorations. The real first ladies, they actually worked, and it's an unpaid job. So I'll put Hillary Clinton in that role. Then she was senator from New York, even though they said she was carpetbagging because she's an Illinois girl. That's where she's born and raised. But she served ably as senator from New York. She was our Secretary of State. Hillary Clinton she's probably one of the most qualified people to ever run for president. And honestly, when clear women didn't put her in, I knew we'd have a hard time getting a woman president elected, even though other countries have done it. So you are right about that, Mama Bees. I don't want them to use him as the cleanup man, because he had things running so peacefully, so smoothly that everybody thought it was easy, including the orange clown. So Taco is up there literally bankrupting us. That's what this Fortune article is about. And I'll go through everybody and read comments throughout, in addition to giving my opinion on the articles and then kind of skimming through the articles. So Mama Bees, let's say I don't like it. I love Obama. They use him as an excuse to vote for Trump and racism. Yes, I agree to that. Then Linda says, I listen to Joy Reid and Don Lemon. Yes, Linda Gamble, they're really good. Actually, Linda, I think surprisingly enough, when they got fired, that just gave them their wings. They became free at that time. I love the way they both handle their platforms and the way they get to say what they want. So this article, and remember, Fortune is a very long respected magazine that is about business. So this is their first sentence in this article. The U.S. government is insolvent. That's not hyperbole. It's the conclusion drawn directly from the Treasury Department's own consolidated financial statements for fiscal year 2025, released last week, to near total media silence. The numbers, 6.06 trillion in total assets against 47.78 trillion in total liabilities as of September 30th, 2025. Now, again, I like to editorialize. I give my opinion. I'm not smarter than Fortune, but Fortune knows how to read a balance sheet, and I do as well. Even though I'm in a uniform now, I'm in the transportation sector. I work for an airline. The people that have been here long enough know that. I chose that. I'm in a uniform. I'm union after over 20 years with some of the top financial services companies in the country, including two of the larger banks. Both names will be recognizable, and one of the largest broker dealers in the country, whose name would be recognizable as well. But I'm not a person that can code switch like that and even care to do so. And after I had done that for years and years and years, for 8 to more hours during the day, and then finally get to be myself at home, which is just, the way that I am. You see me here, you see me, you've met me. Someone I met in person, actually on the cruise that I went with, she said, Sandra P, you're just like Sandra P. You are laid back, you're yourself. So that's true. I'm not, you'll see some people put on a character or an effect, and I'm not doing that. If you meet me, you've talked to me. So that's another reason why I love my subscribers. I'm going to read Linda Gamble's comment, and then we are going to get more into this Fortune article where they're saying that he's done it, y'all. The man who's bankrupted a casino he's broken our U.S. Treasury. Okay, they've stolen. We knew Doge was going to do that. That is that fake agency that is no longer there, by the South African, who is not even someone who should have any type sway in our politics, held no political office, cannot be held accountable. They have disbanded. Linda says the 2020 election was scary for me working the polls here in Texas. A couple threatened me after asking them to go change their shirts. And Linda Gamble, those people want that confrontation. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Just knowing you online, I know that you are about your business. You cross your T's and you dot your I's, and that people know they're not supposed to come in there in political gear. Y'all see me in my Kamala Harris shirt, my Obama shirt. I don't wear that to the polls. And these people know that. And the poll workers are going to be people that they may be off during the day. They may be already retired. They may be still working, but take that day off to do that. That reminds me of the mother and daughter team in Georgia that was being targeted and threatened by the taco, by Rudy Giuliani was in on that. Yay, Kanye West, who we supposedly canceled, but he's out here selling out concerts again. And that just makes me upset that 2020, they tried to steal that election and they were upset that they couldn't do it. That's why he never really conceded and he thought he won, because the South African was meddling then. And what they did January 6th, we knew that he was promised the win, even though he didn't win. And they have worked to undermine us. I'll say us as a country, the people that are not with him, since then. Now, his cult, they happy as a clam on the face of it, but Linda, I don't think they are. I think they're terrified as well, because I see a lot of crying and complaining. They're TikToking all over the place about the price of gas, the price of eggs, all this stuff that they didn't have to worry about under our sweet, brilliant Barack Hussein Obama. And they do have to worry about it now under the orange clown. So as I read this, I'm skipping down, way down. But one of the other agencies they quote is the Government Accountability Office. That's the GAO. They are independent, they are objective, and they do a lot with the budget. And I remember that the first time I heard of them was when Obama was trying to do the Affordable Care Act, which they tried to get destroyed by calling it Obamacare to turn people against it. And it was the best thing that happened to this country. I remember when he said, we did it, Joe. And soon to be President Biden called it, it's a big freaking deal. So that meant a lot. This article actually is a lot more. I mean, it's a lengthy, a lot of numbers, but they're saying that there's two bills that could change everything. First, it says Congress should pass the bipartisan H.2 3289. It's a fiscal commission act, and it's spearheaded by two representatives, one Republican, one Democrat. There's one side that I don't trust at all, but they're calling it bipartisan. It has 41 co-sponsors. It forces a public reckoning with the facts, trade-offs, and hard choices that restoring fiscal health requires. And then second, Congress should call for an Article 5 convention limited to proposing a fiscal responsibility amendment. And that is by a Republican rep and also a Democratic rep as well. So there were people that saying if he could bankrupt a casino, he could bankrupt us. And I think a lot of people just never expect that could happen in the United States. But you look at it, look at that face. He's gonna pick poor Robin clean. Any of you watch Sinners, you know what that reference is. He picked poor Robin clean. Look at him. Oh Lord, let me get that out of here. So I'll read the title again, and that'll just give us food for thought. The Treasury just declared the U.S. insolvent. The media missed it. How many of us know they didn't miss it? They don't care. They're scared of him, that he's going to take their licenses and that sort of thing, and they won't correct him in anything that he does. It's really disgraceful and disgusting and kind of terrifying. Mama B says they are also going to try and privatize the TSA. That is what all this not funding them is about. Yes, Mama B's, that was actually a part of Project 2025. They see the money that the federal government pays out for certain services, and they want a piece of that. They want to stick their hand in the pocket. But those of us old enough to know, I've worked on and on with the airlines since before 2001. And I remember when we didn't always have TSA, it was handled already by private companies, by the airlines. You could go all directly to the gate and bring your party to the gate. You could wait at the gate to meet someone. And there were incidents, but there were not enough incidents like, let's say, September 11th, 2001, to be able to cause where you would need this agency as a part of Department of Homeland Security. And now, Mama Bees, I find it interesting that they're not being paid in order for him to disrupt the airports and have those lines wrapped around the building and have dispatch ICE to the airport. People are afraid because they're armed. Do we see now that they couldn't be unmasked because they'll be doxxed and they're scared? But the ones in the airport are unmasked. And I'm seeing a lot of Black and brown faces. They're distributing a picture of a young woman. All of the comments are in shambles underneath it. They're calling this lady all kind of slave catchers and all kind of stuff. We don't know when she joined ICE. We don't know if she worked for another area of the federal government and her position was gone and they move her into this. We don't know. Could I do the job? I don't think so. But tell me what y'all think of this. I wonder if ICE started to look more like the public. Now, I'm not naive. I know some of the Black and brown ICE faces, they're just as brutal as some of the others. But if we start to see more people like this young lady, more people that look like our sons and nephews and cousins and spouses, maybe it could change if not what their mission is, how they carry it out. I don't know. I think so many different ways about it. And the other thing, personally, I've been talking about it for months, y'all. Our spring break trip, we love to cruise as a family. So we're going to leave from New Orleans. Hour and 40-minute flight versus a 10.5-hour drive. And we were going to fly. But Charlotte Airport, they're not being paid either. I ride the employee bus with them. I don't know how they do it. They're good nature. They're in good spirits. They're still polite. The lines are moving. What I see on the news of New Orleans, not so much. The line is wrapped around the building. I saw a police officer that they put in charge of the lines yelling at people at the top of his lungs, because he's an officer. That's not his job. I know he'd probably rather be on the street or patrolling somewhere else than to be at the airport. The travelers are mad at him. We've all seen Atlanta on the news. So people are taking 5 hours to get through checkpoint. And then Mama Bees is saying that, yeah, they do want to privatize that because they want that money. So that's what it all boils down to. Him trying to run the country as a business and almost bankrupting us in the process. So that's really terrifying. And then also a lot of the departments that he has put people in charge of, they are either directly against whatever that department's mission and goal is, or they're unqualified. So one of the ones, y'all rest in peace to the 2 pilots that lost their life. There was the crash at LaGuardia. This was yesterday. He was with, I think the airline is Air Canada. It is Air Canada, one of the regional jets for Air Canada, though. And we find out now, air traffic controllers, Doge, they call these Doge bros. And some of us had a good laugh at how young and unqualified they look. I thought my light wasn't on, but it is. It's just something coming from outside and it looks kind of dim. So excuse that. If you're not just listening, you're watching. Excuse me. So this young man has lost his life. Rest in peace to him. I'll show him. I don't see the other person. Now, I didn't know that a fire truck, that was called a captain, but he hit a fire truck. The air traffic controller in New York at that time, LaGuardia Airport, overnight, they have 2 on duty. This particular night, it was 1. So, my heart goes out to him, his family, the people that have lost their lives. They found a flight attendant still strapped to her jump seat. That's why you stay strapped in until they safely bring you to the gate and tell you to unbuckle your belt. This young woman, and we don't know the extent of her injuries. She is a survivor. She's still alive. She was strapped to her jump seat, and she did make it. So Mama Bees is talking about all the chaos. I'm discussing the chaos, all this that's going on. But we know that they like to break things. This is a certain party. Break things and then say the government doesn't work. It works when it's run by people that care. That has been their profession. People knock politicians, but it's not something that just anybody can jump up and do. So President Barack Obama had been a political animal in politics for decades. Same thing with Hillary Clinton. Look at those type cabinets that he presided over, as well as Joe Biden, and look at what Taco has put into place. People that are unqualified. I mentioned the LaGuardia crash where people lost their lives because I saw Sean Duffy from The Real World giving a press conference, and they all about optics. He's in one of those Department of Transportation's jackets that we pay for, and he's trying to speak really seriously. And the mayor of New York, Mamdani, who's going to have to meet with whatever families that are from New York and involved in this, looking more somber. These people do not care. They're not qualified to do their job. They don't give a doggone. So if we do get a chance to vote during this election, Linda was a dedicated poll worker. We know they try to threaten us at the polls, but we're going to have to show up, show out. And if we do get a chance to get a fair election, we're going to have to turn these bums out on their, just turn them out. They're in there for a grift, y'all. They don't want to do this job. One of the ones that were up there loud and proud for years, she's trying to change now to grift. I think she wants to run for either governor or even president. Marjorie Taylor Greene with the hook feet, Miss Hoof Foot. So she's out there saying some stuff that some people might agree with. Broken clock is right twice a day. But she's retiring or not running again. No, she already left. Her seat is up. There's a farmer named Sean Harris. He's a black man. He's a farmer. He's a Democrat, but he says he can work with anybody. They tried to catch him with pictures of him with Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock, who are from Georgia. And he's saying he has been out. He has talked to all the farmers. He knows their concerns. So I hope her district does the right thing, the smart thing, because she became a millionaire while she was up there. She got PPP loans of upwards of $200,000 that went unpaid. She didn't have to pay them back. Yet she's voting against people to get their student loans forgiven. I'm blessed. Uncle Joe paid mine off before he left. It was one of those stroke the pen things. If they sue me now, they can't get it. And let's see, we're going to go through a few more topics. So that's LaGuardia. Again, we were mentioning he's done it. He's finally bankrupted the Treasury. There are people that are trying to remedy what's going to be done about that. My other concern, y'all, I had a post that I put up, ssa.gov, ssa.gov, or look for my post from last week. You should be getting, if you're not already, and Linda, you Gen X, I think you're younger than me. If you're not already getting your Social Security statement, if you've been working, my first job, official job, City of Yonkers, I was 14 years old. I've been paying in Social Security, all of those taxes, everything since then. I've accumulated a nice little amount to support me in my retirement when I reach that stage of the game, when I decide to pull up stakes and get up out of here. Make sure you're at ssa.gov, and you should download or print a copy of that. Or if they're still sending them out, the paper version, get that if you can, but try to keep track of what you've had. Again, these Doge people, they were there to me, mining our information, stealing, getting Social Security numbers. They didn't just rob in plain sight. They're doing a lot behind the scenes. So make sure what we have put in is there, and just really be careful with that. So that was just another thing that I thought of. Department of Homeland Security, Mama B's mentioned the lines, them trying to break TSA so they can privatize. Some airports are doing a little bit worse than others as far as the lines. I'll check in with you all and let you know whether or not we're going to drive or still fly. As it stands now, we're going to fly the day before. So our cruise sails out from New Orleans on Sunday, but we're going to leave that Saturday morning and then spend the night in a hotel. So if we have a problem getting out and we had to put the pedal to the metal and drive, we still could drive overnight, be there that morning, find a place to park, wash up, etc., and then board that ship. Okay, so let's see what other comments. Oh, well, let me stop for a funny little, if you're on Threads, you know, Eric Benet is on Threads. He has written a song. Eric Benet is the sexy, sexy soul singer, the Gen X beautiful man of the bare feet. Y'all remember when he used to be married to Halle Berry? Her and her mama said he was an ex addict. So we don't know about all that, but I'm just this is like a commercial. Eric Benet has written a song. It's dedicated to Taco. Y'all don't know what that means. It means the orange clown always chickens out, but put his name in there. I don't like to say his name because the trolls come in when you do that. Hopefully I have it where it's subscribers only, but I don't know. They still send them out. They do, Linda. That's good. Linda's saying, y'all, we just mentioned the Social Security Administration statements, ssa.gov. Make sure you're registered there. Make sure that you have keep a track record of your earnings, and you get an idea if you were to become disabled and go into retirement right now. If you were to wait until full retirement age. For me, y'all, they claim that 67. Sandra P ain't gonna make it. I tell you that right now. I'm 55 right now. I don't see another 12 years. My godson said to be safe and drive. Linda Gamble, I probably have to listen to your godson. The thing is, it's myself, my sister, 3 of the children from the family are going, so that's 5 of us. We do have 3 vehicles that are big enough. We'll be in one of them, probably the one that's best on gas, or the truck is actually more comfortable and everybody can spread out. But we have 2 of the people that are not a pleasure to ride with. So I've already mapped it on MapQuest. We've done it one time. It is a 10.5-hour drive, but with the stops, conservative stops of maybe 2, we've probably stopped about 5 times. And that's not just for gas. We could stop probably once for gas and make it. But I'll keep that in mind, Linda Gamble. I believe in California and Maryland, the state is assisting with TSA payment. Mama Bees, I think that is why in some places it does run more smoothly than others. I know at my station, we're all close. We ride the employee bus. I don't know them. I mean, I don't know any TSA agents personally other than say hello to. But the time when actually Taco, the first time he was in, he had a very long government shutdown and they were having a really tough time. They had a food bank, y'all, a food bank for working people at our airport. We brought in eggs, all kind of stuff that, they needed or said they wanted. Excuse me. That really bothers me that you're working full time and you got to hit a food bank and they're in uniform, y'all. They got to have their uniforms cleaned or if they wash them, that's still not free. Terrible. But again, when I ride the bus with them, I mean, they don't let you see them sweat. They're not around here crying pole mouth. They're showing up. Because I heard last time they were promised a bonus. And then also they threatened them with losing their jobs, losing their health care, and all of this if they don't show up. And ICE is getting paid. But if you've seen the pictures, they're standing around looking because they're not qualified to do what TSA does. I mean, anybody can check an ID, but there's a machine they check your ID on. They use the new photo thing if you give them permission to do that. And then they have to read that X-ray machine. They go through months of training. So Taco saying, hey, let's go to the airport, and them showing up, it's not helping. Linda says, my Social Security attorney says if you are 62, to go ahead and file for your Social Security benefits now. Linda Gamble, I think that's good advice. I've always heard different things about filing early, but I think the state of the country, that is something that I'd want to do. I think in 2028, I know I was going to say I know we'll get somebody in that's qualified. That's the pattern. This country, we play a lot of games, certain ones. You get someone who is competent, efficient, the trains run on time, the planes land safely, and you get time to argue about little silly stuff. And then he leaves office, as he has every right to do, because he couldn't run again. And he and his wife were glad to be living civilian lifestyle, and they put this fool back in there. So Joe Biden, he was one term, to me by choice. I think he could have got in again if he had run again, but he was kneecapped by his own party. When I think about George Clooney and the people that were kind of turned their back on him, and then Kamala Harris only had, even though she was VP and we already knew her, she only had 100 days to really get her campaign, 107 days. That was one of the name of her book. 107 days to get her campaign together. And he could have stepped down. It's coulda, woulda, shoulda. She should have had the full power of the presidency when they pushed that man out and didn't let him run again. I think the outcome would have been a little bit different. But then behind the scenes, we had the South African, all of the media bros, those people conspiring against us to steal that election. And I still feel they did. I don't care if YouTube puts a little thing up. This is my opinion. So they'll say that's misinformation. But again, he lied the whole time. It's not just us. It's affecting worldwide. Haven't mentioned the war yet, but we've all seen what's going on with Iran. He's got a ceasefire. Now, he started it, but he got a ceasefire for over the next 5 days. They don't have to abide by a ceasefire. So before I got on, I was looking that they had lobbed something that actually hit Center City, Tel Aviv. No comment on that, but you can't always pick at people, start with people, and then they're supposed to lay there and allow you to do it. And then you say, well, that's too much, I'm stopping. Well, you started it, now these people are not stopping. So now what? And then we're all in it together. It's a mess. We've seen some of the dignified transfers. Our heart goes out to the people that are in the military, the veterans. I know they're having PTSD. People whose children are going over. Again, when I go into the airport, you see them line up. These young people, and y'all 18 and 19 and 21, they look 15 and 16 now. They look so young, and they travel with, when a whole contingent goes out, they travel with like the captain or older people. Those young men and women are like 30. The ones that have been there before and are, bringing them to boot camp, they're like 30 years old. So this man, what he's done, and then Taco, the orange people, none of them in 5 generations of them have never served a day in any country's military, here or where they're from. Germany, even though he lied and claimed Switzerland. Linda says it's alleged that Taco Man's going to be brought up, an Amendment 25, treason allegedly. I believe it when I see it at this point, Linda Gamble. I hope that's true. I think his own party's getting wary of him, but what they should know is that they were never a part of the same party as him. He'd given money to Democrats the same as he'd given money to Republicans. He is a party of one. And you would think somebody with grandchildren and children, he would care about the future. He doesn't. I think he's just a hate-filled person, if he has any emotion at all. And he's one of those kids that when they get through with something, they want to tear it down. They want to tear it down to the ground. I see him trying to do that, but unfortunately, it's with the whole country. I have godchildren over there in that mess. I'm praying for them, Linda Gamble. We just put a veil of protection over them and hope that they will come home safe and in their right mind and in their right body and with all their limbs and everything that they went over there with. Because even though this person was aggressive and he started it, despite what he's saying, he didn't listen to any of the intelligence that was telling him there's a reason no other president has gone in there, because this is different type of fighters. They do different things, and it's just disgraceful. So in addition to, we talked about Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy from the real world, he's unqualified. I called my senator, one of them, Tom Tillis. He's not running again. The other guy is maggot out, Ted Budd. He's crazy. I don't even call his office anymore. I may send an email. But before every confirmation, I would say, this person's not qualified, this, that, and the other. And I would get a flowery letter back. I'm following President T wants what's best for the country, blah, 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 blah. So now Tom Tillis has grown a spine because he's not running again, because we hate him so much here. I don't think he could win. And we'll see what's going to happen with that. But he was instrumental in trying to get Kristi Noem fired. But I don't give him any points because, again, we all warned him before he actually voted to confirm her. So if you get time, there is an app called 5 Calls app, and it will tell you who your 2 senators are, who your Congress people are, and it gives scripts. You can call them, you can email them if you feel better or it's easier for you to do that. And just right now, I don't think they care, but I think they should have a record of when all of this stuff, if we ever get to the end of it, comes to a head and we try to turn things around. Because sometimes you can't put the genie back in the bottle. But if we're ever to the end of this and we start to kind of peel back the layers and see how this happened, I know, racism, jealous of a black man, mad, didn't want a woman of color to win, didn't want even Hillary Clinton to win, because we would have been a much different country if we hadn't allowed that foolishness that started back then. So Linda, okay, we already said that with Linda. Department of Transportation, Department of Education, I'll cover that after this. But, I was speaking about a commercial. Y'all see how I get sidetracked? Eric Benet has written a song in honor of Orange Taco. And y'all, I'm not able to, I'm going to play the, let me see, I'll try to show the video so you can see him clowning. Oh, you know what? I'm going to show it and then I'll have to play it. There's something going on, and I think it's user error or it could be computer, but the craziest thing, I can show the media that I want to show, but the sound, and I've not been successful, y'all. I do test streams, I do everything. I cannot get production in here. Production is no longer unpaid. I bribe production, I try to pay production. When production get out of school, they want to get on that phone and chill. But if I can get them to help me, and again, I still do test runs as well. Okay, I'm going to show you Eric Benet with this he's doing, but I'm going to actually play it old school. All right, so we will. All right, now you're not going to get the Eric Benet sound, okay? I'll just play it so you'll see. Okay, showing. Okay, so this is called McDonald's, please. Those of you that are I'm doing it like podcast version and you're just listening, give me a 1 if you can hear me, because I'm going to play his song. But again, you won't be able to hear. Well, you'll be able to hear it when I play it from here. Okay, let me go back. I'm going to take that out. All right, there we go. So that just showed Eric Benet. I know that is not going to, that doesn't give you the sound, but it's called McDonald's, please. I'm going to play it from here. And y'all know Taco loves McDonald's. McDonald's, please. Could you put extra grease on Big Macs? You sent to the West Wing. McDonald's, please. There's a cardiac arrest we've all prayed for since
2016. McDonald's, please. You do special orders. I'll take one love. Orange casualty. McDonald's, please. We'll be loving it. Loving it. Oh, McDonald's, please. McDonald's, please. 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, on a sesame seed bun with extra grease. Extra grease. Please. McDonald's, please.
That's Eric Benet clowning, y'all, asking McDonald's for extra grease. You saw it on Instagram? Thank you, Mama Bees, for the sound check. You saw it on Instagram? He is funny. He's on Threads, too. He clowns over there. McDonald's not going to do it. I heard McDonald's had their own leanings. Actually, that was hilarious. He's so talented. It's funny how people, when they can do something, they do it well, and it doesn't matter what it is. So we know it's a joke. We know McDonald's more than likely try to make them healthier than put extra grease on it. But I'm for the extra grease. Cece's not in here. Cece's one of my moderators, but she actually sent me something about the Department of Education. Remember, everyone he's put in a position of power, that cabinet secretary is not in line with whatever that position is. So the wrestling lady, Linda McMahon, she's over the Department of Education, but she's really presiding over its destruction. And there's information that they are trying to dismantle the Board of Education. So what they're doing is they're putting it into different other agencies that have nothing to do with education. That's not going to impact the student loans, of course. So the people that were like, oh, both parties are the same, or the 90 million who sat out altogether, your student loan's not going to be forgiven just because they're destroying the Department of Education. They're going to put that into something like Department of Treasury, Department of Labor. So they're going to keep things like oversight, but they're no longer going to be in the business of trying to see students get educated. Now, we all know that started way back with the second Bush, the son, No Child Left Behind, when it started kind of dumbing things down and teaching to a test. And people don't really see how the gravity of the situation that we're in. I don't want to be an alarmist. I'm going to turn things around in a minute. Maybe end with some fun topics because y'all, this is depressing. I don't come here to do this. I'm sorry. So next we have Keith Boykin is somebody I follow on Threads. He also is the guest of a lot of the shows that I do watch, like Joy Reid, Don Lemon. You'll see him on different channels. So this I found, this was in the Washington Post, and Cuba was, let me see, I'm going to show, if I have this, I'm going to actually show this. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share this screen. Cuba, as we know, he just said, I think I'm going to go in and get Cuba. So he's messing with Cuba. He doesn't understand the gravity. He doesn't take no for an answer. We already know that because as a felon, some of the felony he has committed is the R word. So he's a person that doesn't take no for an answer. As we can see when he tried to mess with Greenland, rushed into Iran against all advice. So now he wants Cuba, and his son-in-law being in real estate. There's a lot going on with that. They want to privatize all the federal government. Yes, Mama Bees, because there's a lot of money in it. But he bankrupts it, and they claim they're the party of lower taxes. How much taxes are we going to be paid for them to be able to keep things? It just doesn't make sense. This country, what it's going to be, certain states are going to run well, the blue ones, and the ones that are welfare states already, the red ones, is going to be a disaster. If you look at what's going on in Hawaii with very little national media coverage. I saw someone on Threads the other day saying, pray for me, y'all. My mother and father is going for their 30th anniversary to Hawaii, and I'm worried. And people were like, what? It's underwater. Do not go there. The North Shore is underwater. A lady I watched, Poverty to Paradise, she's retired on cruise ships, Lunel, finally got her Hawaii cruise. She went there, y'all. They couldn't safely dock at one of the ports. They were kept on board at another port. Hawaii's really in trouble. But right now, this article says the Cuban government has rejected the request by the U.S. Embassy. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm in the middle of me reading this. They're asking me to put my email in, and it's free. And I think I had stopped subscribing to the New York Times for a reason, but I'm going to put it in just so I can finish looking at this. Okay, so what? All right, so saying I already have an account. I know I already have an account. I can read it from here. So they rejected a request by the U.S. Embassy in Havana to import fuel to its generators. So I'll say that again. Now, there's a fuel blockade. So this whole crisis that's going on in Cuba is actually, it is manufactured by Taco and his crew. They're trying to steal the whole island from under the people. They're being rooted on by a lot of the Cubans that live in Miami that unfortunately vote against their own, and they feel like they're going to go back there and be on top again. White presenting Cubans. Again, all this is alleged, in my opinion. This part is real. The Cuban government has rejected a request by the U.S. Embassy in Havana to import fuel for its generators. If Trump won't let the Cuban people have fuel, why shouldn't the U.S. Embassy in Cuba be treated any differently? So it says Cuba rejects shameless U.S. Embassy request to bring in fuel. Now, y'all, this title shocked me because it's in the Washington Post, who is actually owned by Jeff Bezos. So that's kind of surprising to me that it's Jeff Bezos would allow a title like that to be up there. So he's not only wreaking havoc here, he's wreaking havoc all over the place. And then here I have more good news. Now, Delta, I feel different ways about Delta. Delta used to be really good, but I've heard that as a company, let me take that down. As a company, what they have done, Delta is they're allowing some of their flights to fly ICE agents and different things like that. I'm not sure the details of it, and I was shocked to read about it because Delta has never had that reputation. I don't know. I hope that is not true. So that is allegedly, that's in my opinion. But this article, this is from the Atlanta Journal Constitution. That's the Atlanta paper. And it is saying that the airport perks for Congress may dry up pretty quickly. Atlanta's Delta Airlines announced this week it's suspending its standalone service for members of Congress until the TSA is fully funded. So that'll help. Because I was online the other day and I watched Nancy Mace. She is a stone cold maggot. She votes with the Orange Clown 100%. She's a member of Congress. She was being escorted through the airport through a special line. So Delta, for one, has says, look, we're not doing this and we're not going to allow it. Now, somebody is cynical. They put under the comment, funny how this comes out as Delta is being exposed for flying people to detention centers and concentration camps. Again, I told you I'd heard that about Delta, but I didn't know that that was the case. I didn't really believe it. So let me see if what point we're in to the live. Around 45 minutes or so. So that's not bad. That's not too bad. Thank you for joining me during the live, everyone that's here during the live. Team Replay, please click the like button. You can share, you can subscribe, you can hype. That help keeps a growing channel in the algorithm. And I appreciate you so much over here at Sandra P's GenXtra when you join me in a live, when you engage. And then Team Replay, as you know, when you leave a comment, I respond to comments as well. So we can keep it going after the video is over. I do really appreciate that, everybody. Okay, and let me see. I'm just going through different topics that I have already set up. We can probably move to a few entertainment topics let me see. I want to make sure that, yeah, I did finish all that. So I have a congrats WNBA topic. We know that those women were fighting for, there's no sound on this, but they were fighting for their fair pay. we know that the salaries are dwarfed by what the men's are. I remember Shaquille O'Neal was on a podcast. One of the young ladies that has a podcast, it wasn't Angel Reese, it was somebody else. And she was telling him what they're fighting for and what their salary is. And he was like, really? He could not believe it. And so he's tried to champion their cause as well. But I found it interesting that he didn't even know. So this is a celebratory lunch. The moment at 2:30 a.m., this was almost a week ago, 2:30 a.m., the WNBA and its players, again, no sound, reached an agreement to move minimum salaries from $66,000 to $300,000, y'all. And as we know, the WNBA, I haven't been to a game in years. Is this thing still here? I can't remember. Let me not broadcast my ignorance. Haven't been to a game in years. But the games used to be really fun. If you watch them on TV, you can see a lot of activity. The women really play hard. Sometimes it's better than the men's. So it says, congratulations to women in sports who worked so hard for this. So I'm happy for those young ladies. I'm going to read what they have gained. A minimum salary was, is that 66,000. Minimum salary of 66,000. That's your generic office worker. And these ladies are traveling, running up and down the court. To $300,000. So that's the new minimum. Congratulations to the ladies. I'm so excited and happy for them. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Mama B says, and the men make millions just to sign. Yes, Mama B's. And a lot of times they, if they're a bust, they're still making their money. These young ladies are working so hard to get, what they play through elementary, high school, college. My niece is a cheerleader, and the little games they cheer at, she's 8. That little team with the girls on it, they have a mixed team with the girls, and then they also have a team with girls only, and they play the little boys. It is so entertaining. I love it. So they start, and they're in that sport as long as the men are, but for years, we know they didn't really have an avenue after that. And then when they finally got the WNBA, they didn't want to pay the young ladies like they were paying the men. And before the misogynists started saying, oh, yeah, well, they didn't deserve this, that, and the other, to me, they do deserve that. Okay, so we'll go back to another fun topic, y'all. This is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you're with me on the channel, you know I have strong opinions on Beverly Hills, but the show is so boring, I'm actually not reviewing the show. But if something comes up that I want to talk about it, I will and do. And mainly I talk about Bozoma St. John. I'm not a Bose fan, y'all. She got called out the other night because the person that they have picked on this cast to target and isolate, it was supposed to be Sutton, but Amanda, I guess they felt was an easier target. So now they're harassing her. So Bose is, in my opinion, bullying. They are traveling. Bose is sponsoring and hosting a beautiful trip to Florence, Italy. She has them in an estate is maybe a tame word for it. Somebody said this is like a movie set. It's so beautiful. One of the rooms, Jennifer Tilly's room, is right next to it. There's a chapel, and it's so beautiful. Jennifer Tilly's really chill and zen. And when she goes in there, she's like, Lord, please don't let there be any arguing. Jennifer Tilly has that little voice. She voices The Simpsons. And her ex-husband was the creator of The Simpsons. Jennifer Tilly is sitting pretty. She said that man said to her, I can give you like $200,000 right now. And we'll have a no fuss divorce. And she was like, I'll just take a piece of The Simpsons. And her lawyer was like, yeah, that's what you should do. And Jennifer, she's good friends with Sutton. We know Sutton gets $300,000 a month. And I don't even know what Sutton's husband did. I think he was in oil or something. Sutton lived her married life in Texas. That man just wanted to get remarried to one of Sutton's friends. Do you know that man went to the Catholic Church, had their marriage annulled? Yes, he did. A marriage of 2 decades, and they have children. So anyway, this is the seating chart. So we got Andy at the head, grinning. Andy really gets on my nerves. And then to Andy's right side, the right-hand woman, I'm one of the 11 people left, I like to joke, who still like Kyle Richards. Kyle's pretty terrible, though. Kyle stirs up all the mess. she has a producer hat on and she doesn't share her life. So people that don't like Kyle, that's the reason. And Kyle's been at that for years. Supposedly she's in the middle of a divorce from Mauricio. Those of us that know what we have seen over the years, I'll believe it when I see it. Mauricio, in my opinion, had been cheating in peace for years. Now, early on, I love to see them together, love their family. Amanda, the rookie this season, actually bought Kyle's old house on one of Mauricio's shows, or maybe it was Selling Sunset. But he has a show called The Agency on Netflix. They sitting, y'all, on the top of 100 mil. So cheaper to keep, but cheaper to keep him because they're in California and they both did a lot of their financial growth together. So that's Kyle giving nothing but kind of manipulating the other storylines. She's on the right hand. Erica Jane, I didn't see do much this season. Erica Jane had a big storyline. Her ex-husband, or are they still married? Tom was involved in a scam. He was an attorney. He's on his last legs now. Erica's probably at 55, 56. And Tom is 80 something years old. So I won't even call that, what do they call those romances? Spring, winter. It's not even that. Sutton is right there, third seat down. She's giving nothing. She's only still here because after Garcelle left, she was able to kind of ingratiate herself with the other ladies, even though they still don't like her. They think she's corny. They think she's not cool enough to be with them. The only thing that fits, as Sutton would say, my wallet's big enough. She threw that in Dorit's face one season. Amanda, that's the rookie, all the way down on the end of the couch. I really feel like Amanda could have been first chair. She's the center of every conversation. I don't care for Amanda. I find her a little strange. There's something about her that is a little off, but she calls herself the money queen, and she's a financial manifester, and she sells courses that are upwards of a few $1,000s a pop. And Amanda has accumulated a fortune, reportedly somewhere around over 20 million doing that, y'all. So she's like a young female Tony Robbins type person. And the other ladies, particularly Bose, are mad about it. So that's Amanda Francis. I don't know if Amanda is 40 yet. If she's not, she's right at 40. And she is planning a wedding, which she likes to tell us she's paying for everything because she makes more in a month than her husband makes in a year. Or not her husband, her soon-to-be husband. So they've renovated Kyle's house. They have little children. 2 of them are her stepchildren, and then 2 of them she's had with the boyfriend. So that's Amanda. And then sitting there at the end, that's Jennifer Tilly. I was mentioned of the Simpsons money. If you're Gen X, you also know of Jennifer Tilly. She has a sister called Meg Tilly. Meg Tilly has been in so many things for so many years, and they are said her mom was an opera singer, and there are Oscars in that family. I think Meg Tilly for Agnes of God, or at least she was nominated at the very least. That's the Jane Fonda movie. Jane Fonda was a journalist, and there was a young pregnant nun who has, as the Catholic Church put it, never known a man, and they were trying to submit it as a miracle. How many of you know it was not a miracle? Because there were some fine priests lurking around and doing what they do. And poor Agnes of God, somebody caught hold to her, and again, it wasn't an immaculate conception as they were trying to paint it as. So that was her sister Meg Tilly. I wonder if we'll ever see Meg Tilly on the show. But I love Jennifer Tilly, her personality. She's on the end of that couch only because she's friend of. But I'd like to see Sutton removed and her get a full champagne glass. I'd love to see that. Oh no, they get diamonds. Have her get a diamond. The lady in second chair is Bose, Bazoma St. John. We know that she is an industry titan. She has had very short tenures at some of the big companies, Netflix, Uber, PepsiCo, and she's been living off that resume for years. The storyline she's trying to push on us is she is in a quad situation. We are watching her go through IVF with not a husband, a fiance, Keely. He is a businessman. We don't know his businessman, but that's what they claim he does. Ophelia is speaking to Mama Bees. Dear Yvette, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in. Good morning, Sandra P. Dear Yvette, we started out a little bit of more depressing note because it is a political discourse with Sandra P, excuse me. And I was going through some of the latest news topics, but to end on a good note, I actually came to a few entertainment topics to end, and we're at the reunion seating chart for the ladies of Beverly Hills. May do a little deeper dive into Bose or Bazoma St. John. Again, she's in the second seat. Then we got Rachel Zoe. Rachel Zoe is a rookie on this show this year, but if you're in the know, you actually know that Rachel Zoe is from a show called The Rachel Zoe Project. Rachel Zoe is fashion legacy, Gen X legacy. If you know, you know. I grew up watching that show. I loved the show. Her husband Roger is now plotline in this show because they're going through a divorce after maybe 35 years of marriage. And as we know, if you watch that show, Rachel Zoe and Roger, he was one of her he was her right-hand man. He had his own job or something like early on, and then as their business started to grow and grow, he is a instrumental, huge part of her business. He's not a Keely. He's not one of these men that are trying to get in where he fit in. I never really cared for Roger that much, but I feel like he and Rachel were compatible and a team. And this is sad what the two of them are going through. Rachel seems to be a little upset over it. Her two sons are kind of upset over it, but living their lives. One of them's a preteen, and the other one's like a young teen, maybe 14. So that is kind of the drama that she's bringing, but it's not really drama. Roger's not really doing anything to her. He's dating. Rachel seems real upset about it and seems, in my opinion, trying to put that on to the two boys, kind of like, if you don't want to go over there near her, you don't have to, okay? You call me, you call me. Now she's in pieces because this little son did call her and say, Mom, he brought her over here and introduced me and blah, blah, blah. So now Rachel's saying, should I leave Italy? So we don't know. Everyone's speaking to dear Yvette. He was always a lot. Yeah, Roger, I don't know. And he might have been a little bit jealous. Tell me what you think about his persona. Kind of like one of those Hollywood men. As they aged, he started getting like younger and cooler, kind of doing the Mauricio. Like, why is she getting all the attention? People like me, I'm good looking. So I think Roger, he was a lot, and now he's out there in the streets. Allegedly. That's what they're saying. That's what Rachel is saying. So that's a part of her storyline. But Bose made a slick comment. Then she put up an apology video. I didn't like the apology video. She had this ish-eating grin. How many people ever said something slick? How many people didn't know they were overheard saying it? How many people forgot that they did it? And Bose thought she was coming across so funny and cute and chill. And they are eating Bazoma St. John up under her comments. And I love to see it because I don't care for Amanda that much, but I don't like a pylon. And then that was a big part of the episode last week. Again, I don't review the show, but a lot of content creators do. Kiwan JTV didn't come in here yet. She's one of the ones, she does reviews of, she does a good length, and it just depends on what you want to listen to. I do a little longer length. She may give you 20 something minutes on it, but you're going to get details. It's funny. It's fair. She don't really have favorites like that to call you out. There's a lot of people, and I'm sure some of your favorites will cover Real Housewives of Beverly Hills too, because I watch it a few places. I just don't review it myself. I may do some of the reunion if it's 2 parts, not 3, because I'm really loving the Married to Medicine that it's going to be a 2-part reunion. Because if you were in here for my review of part 1, it is a lengthy review, over an hour and a half, and the same thing as actually the reunion. It's a chock full hour, 15-minute reunion. So I think Andy should focus on doing that. He got most of the packages out of the way, and then when we come back for part 2, they're going to bring them in, they're going to tie up loose ends, and we'll get the rest of the packages. So I really love that. Dairy Vet said, yeah, he always wanted to be outside. Yeah, Dairy Vet, you can kind of see that when people have that in them anyway, and then as they get older, it just comes to the forefront. All right, so the thing, Bose, they called Bose called Amanda They were looking at masks as they were walking through. They were walking through Florence, looking at just different things from street vendors. And one of the people, now Natalie, I don't think she's coming back. Natalie is a rookie as well. Now, Sandra P's Cloak of Immunity, if you're familiar with the channel, you know I put that over New Housewives and Newbies. Real Houses of Beverly Hills, I'm not going to give any of them that protection because, number one, I don't like them enough. And the ones that I do like have been there long enough, they don't need it. So again, I don't care for Amanda Francis, but I don't like a pylon. The other lady, Natalie, is an ex to Simon Fuller. Yes, Simon of American Idol, Simon of America's Got Talent. So yeah, there's some money. They're working out the kinks as far as the settlement. So we finally get to see Natalie. We have not seen her all season. She came to Florence with them. I mean, to Italy with them, Florence, Italy. And we're like, who is this lady? She's the other edition. They spent so much time talking about Amanda. We haven't seen Natalie. So they're walking down the street. There are these masks. And Natalie makes the comment like, well, who would be that Pinocchio mask? It had a long nose. Bose made an offhand comment, Amanda, because they think Amanda's a liar. Amanda has a story like, I've been in a cult. I've escaped a cult. I'm making all this money. I'm manifesting all these tens of millions. And Bose and the other ladies are a little jealous about it. Kyle having her little producer hat on. I don't know that she likes Amanda all that much either, but she smells a pylon. She's also been here long enough. She's an OG. She's season 1. She knows how to get on the right side. Or if she's with something like a Fox Force 5, she knows how not to be held accountable for what she weaponizes other people to do. So she's kind of protecting Amanda. So Bose had to actually give an apology for that. So I found that really funny. And then Bose, that didn't come across the way you thought it was. So I actually like it because I don't care for Bose. Now, another way you can earn Sandra P's cloak of protection, cloak of immunity is you can be the only person of color. You can be a victim of a pylon. You can earn it. But Bose has never earned it. Her first season was last season. She's only in her second season. And she came on, to me, people piled on feeling like she didn't stick with Garcelle. I think Garcelle could have had her own back. It would have been nice if Bose didn't actively seek out Dorit, who was always in conflict with Garcelle, suspiciously to me, because Dorit, there are things I like about her, but a lot of times I don't care for Dorit. She got a slick mouth. I think there's a little bit of microaggressions that I see in Dorit. When she would refer to Garcelle as, you being very aggressive, she speaks really clipped when speaking to Garcelle or someone she feel she's above. Like, Garcelle, you're being aggressive. And Garcelle is not aggressive. She's just direct. And Bose feels like, I have to protect my sweet little blonde Dorit. That's what the energy I get from Bose. And I can see why she had not the greatest name at work as far as how she would kind of be brought into, I feel like one of those people they bring in as the only, and then she can get the others in line. And I mean only as far as in the C-suite, because she has had some high-level titles, but again, the murmur is not that great. I like Amanda and how she lets them know she has the money. And I love it. I love it. The man will say they are the money, girl power. Dear Yvette, that's an interesting way of looking at it. It just makes me cringe when she does that. Who's Natalie? Dear Yvette, she is the other rookie. She came in supposedly the same time as Amanda. This is both their first season. Now, neither of them were at BravoCon, but Amanda's name rang bells repeatedly on the BravoCon stage at the hands of Bose. Everybody was talking about Amanda. And as you can see from the season, everybody's still talking about Amanda. I didn't notice Natalie at any other events, but they have brought her with them to Italy. So the whole thing's bizarre. Now they've made her the center of this Pinocchio mask, and Bose said something and all of this. So that the whole thing is pretty funny to me. So let's see. We went over that seating chart. Bose gave the apology. Bose lies. Let me see what else we might have. I'll try to keep it related to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because I don't have a separate standalone that I do for Beverly Hills. Okay, this is her. I just mentioned her apology and her demeanor. I'll show you a little bit of it because No Chaser TV put it up. So what she's apologizing for is hurting Amanda's feelings. I'll just show you a little bit of it. No Chaser TV is Chase, He's a content creator. What I found him and really loves him is he does something called Mojito Mammies. He and another guy, Jaime, reviewed Real Housewives of Miami, and that's how I found him. But I like all his content on Threads. He's also on IG. Here's Bose.
It looks like I accidentally stepped in it on this one. Jeez. So here's the thing. How many of us don't have a poker face? How many of us sometimes say slick things under our breath? How many of us sometimes say slick things, forget we said the slick thing, and then stand 10 toes down that we didn't say it? That's what happened on this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, okay? By the way, if you haven't watched the episode, please go watch it and then come back and let's have a discussion. I don't want to spoil nothing for you, okay? But if you have watched it, then let's get to the conversation. So, just to remind everybody, this is what happened.
Amanda was sharing with Kyle that she overheard you both say that she said something about the mask on the bridge.
Oh, the mask?
You said, let's buy some masks.
I said, oh, look, there are those masks.
Yeah. Mentioned her name or whatever. I don't know.
No, I did not say Amanda's name in reference to a damn.
I don't think we made Amanda's. I don't think.
I don't think so. We're not like so obsessed with Amanda.
And then they flash back to this.
They do have those masks. I have one of those.
Do you?
I do.
It's going to be Pinocchio.
Amanda. Ooh, wee. But also,
I didn't like that. Don't apologize to me like that, laughing and kikiing and thinking you're funny and cute and putting memes and stuff in there. Don't apologize to me like that. Just keep it. So, dear Yvette, that was Natalie in the video saying, who's going to be Pinocchio? Again, like you said, who is she? We hadn't seen her all season. Haven't seen her all season. They're at episode 14, 15. They're getting ready to go to reunion. I just showed the reunion chart. So now you're introducing basically a new character. Did you see when Kyle asked Kathy, would you like to be the butt of a joke? Yeah, she was talking kind of slick. Well, would you like to be the ass of a joke? Now, Kathy have told Kyle before, like, watch your mouth, Kyle. Because Kyle can get a little live. Again, she's got her producer hat on. Now, I'll allow it only because I don't like the pylon. I got a real problem with that. Y'all, I'm going to put something in because it just came in 40 minutes ago. It's from Keith Boykin, and I covered the story earlier. We were talking about the airports. I'm cruising out of New Orleans. We're supposed to fly. Linda Gamble was in here. She said her godson said, be safe and drive. 10.5-hour drive versus a hour and 40-minute flight. My airport is not having a problem. On the other end, New Orleans, they're having a problem. So when we get back, if this mess is still going, and again, we're leaving Easter weekend. It's a 7-day. But the way they close the government, they open it differently. And the problem could alleviate itself while we're away. I don't know. But I'm interjecting with this. Houston's Intercontinental Airport, again, I had to fly through them because I took a cruise out of Galveston in January, is reporting a 4-hour wait time. Only 2 available TSA checkpoints for the entire airport today. And as we know, the partial government shutdown means that the TSA agents are unpaid. Now, the Orange Clown has dispatched ICE to the airports who are paid. Like they're a bigger priority than airport safety. So they're being paid to stand there and watch them because they're not trained to do what TSA does. So that's a 4-hour wait at TSA in Houston. So y'all, that's really terrible. That's really sad and it's terrible. I hate to see it. So we will go back to Beverly Hills. And again, Bose, I don't like that apology. She got caught in a lie. She could have simply said sorry. I think she knew she said that, but she didn't expect anybody to actually call her on it in the moment. And I think that's where she's going with that. Yes. Did you see how they are wrapped around to the parking garage? Yes, I was talking about that, dear Yvette. I saw one video. A police officer was trying to get control of the line. He was yelling at the top of his lungs. And the comments were like, look at him talking to them like that. And I'm thinking, well, that's the police. They're not there to manage lines. Not that he should be yelling at people, but with him, I'd rather go work my beat. So let's see. That is pretty much it for that. I have a random story I'll throw out here because it's Real Housewives related. Now, we were mentioning all these different Real Housewives. I got a link from one of the subscribers. She's sometimes in the chat, American Born. I also see her in the YouTube streets. She sent me a link. when I clicked on it, it said that make sure it's saved, no, certificate, check the security certificate. So I'll have to watch it on a certain laptop that will let me override and choose to watch something that's, might be considered unsafe, so I can have the extra protection. But there are all these different Real Housewives. The one that I want to watch, someone mentioned Real Housewives of Durban. So that's South Africa. There's another one, Real Housewives of Pretoria. Two people, y'all, have been, they always like to say about the mugshots and all that. Two people from in Boca Raton, they're South African. They got arrested. This was March 10th, so that was earlier this month. They were stealing, listen to how much they stole in groceries from a local Publix. $5,302.17. Y'all, that is crazy. And it says the South African reality stars are accused of conducting a 6 months. So Publix have been watching them. That's how they get you. Target does the same thing. Target, it does a lot of surveillance. I saw an influencer one time crying, Target, they let me go in and they act like they didn't see me. And now I'm being charged with a felony. This girl was price changing tickets, not scanning stuff. And Target allegedly would let people get over a certain amount so they can charge them with a felony. But this couple, I guess it's over time, stole $5,302.17. I'm going to go in and see if I can show you the picture of them. Again, these people were from the South African, one of the Real Housewives. All right, let me see. Okay, excuse the silence. If I want to pull it up here because I have it on my phone, but I didn't have the link to it. So let me go ahead and I want to show you their mug shots. Since they love to show Dr. Wendy and all these other people, I will show this mug shot so you can see these people from Real Housewives of Pretoria, which is one of the South African franchises. And these people are being charged with stealing over $5,300 worth of groceries. And y'all, they're being a Range Rover. Isn't that crazy? So let me find the part of their. All right, you're not going to see the mug shots right there. There it is. Let's see. Oh no, they actually show them being arrested. Okay, so I'll silence that and then you can look at them. There it is. Okay, so I will go ahead and. All right, I'll go ahead and let that stay there so you can see it. So here's the alleged scheme. The South African reality stars are accused of conducting 6-month ticket switching scheme between August of 2025 and March of 2026. So these people actually thought they were getting free groceries while the rest of us have to budget and pay. And y'all, they'll be going there in a Range Rover and come out with up to 2 carts. So it said, here's the method. Investigators allege the couple used barcodes from low-price items such as dry seasoning packs to cover the barcodes of expensive items. Y'all, this is allegedly, and in my opinion, this is what their local news reported. Nobody do this. None of my subs would. Even visitors wouldn't. So we like our freedom too much. In some instances, they reportedly bypassed scanning entirely and walked out with 2 carts. Now, y'all know who would be allowed to do that. I told y'all I was accosted and confronted for carrying out a large size cranberry juice with no bag because they didn't have any more bags that it would fit. And I was in a work uniform, everybody, and refused to show my receipt. And they didn't do anything because I didn't steal anything. Police linked the pair to 52 separate transactions involving 392 items. Public said they're going to make an example out of these people, y'all. They put down some of the stolen goods. The items included cases of sparkling water, Maison Perrier and San Pellegrino, La Marca Prosecco, wine, soda, produce, toilet paper. So the arrest and illegal status, y'all, this is what I mentioned. The investigation was triggered when Publix data and analysts flagged abnormally low. Let me go out of this because it's getting ready to play something else. I wanted to just show the picture so you could see what we were looking at. Flagged, let me try to go back and stop sharing. Flagged abnormally low transaction totals linked to the couple's cards. Some of these companies their investigations are like a mini FBI. And as I mentioned, Target, I'd always heard that they were on that same stuff. So Melanie Viogen told police she acted alone and was in survival mode because she couldn't work in the U.S. without a visa. You know what you do, Melanie? You go home. But ICE wasn't scooping her up. What else did I mention that was interesting? They're from South Africa. We know there's another group of South Africans that the Orange Clown brought in, talking about they being victimized. Y'all, they all over crying. They want to go home, this, that, and the other. It's not what they thought. So can you believe that? And let me see, Derry Vet said, yes, did you see how they were wrapped around to the park? Oh, okay, we mentioned that already. And that was, we were talking about TSA earlier, everybody. Are those the people that the current administration let in the country? Derry Vet, I don't know if he let them in, but I know they're from South Africa as well. But it sounds like they were already in Boca Raton. I don't know, maybe they were trying to get involved in some Real Housewives or something over here. They wouldn't have been on Miami because Boca, that's a different crowd, if you know what I mean. Because Publix, if I walked in my uniform and I had my cranberry juice, if they had a greeter there, they probably would be focused more on me than these other people with 2 shopping carts going to a Range Rover, if you know what I mean. So listen, this is funny. Both are currently in the custody of ICE, U.S. Customs Enforcement. Petros is being held at the Florida South Side South facility, nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. I thought they closed that down. This man doesn't listen to anything. They were ordered by a judge to close that down. I didn't know that they still had people there. Melanie is at Broward Transitional Center. Y'all, that is a mess. So, Bravo, you can actually put those mug shots in the Bravo Housewife Hall of Fame next to Dr. Wendy and Happy Eddie. But again, that's only $5,000. Wendy and them is upwards of $400-something thousand, and they didn't charge Dorit at all. Now that's something Amanda could talk about. Dear Yvette likes Amanda. I want Amanda to defend herself a little more. I can tell she got it in her. Like I called out Brandy from Married to Medicine. They're not housewives, but they are on par with housewives. Brandy's got it in her. Brandy and Angel, they defended themselves all season from the meaner OGs. So I did love to see that. All right, y'all, let me see whether or not, I'm just going to go ahead and clear up all the rest of the entertainment topics. So if you were here, we already did Real Housewives of Beverly Hills seating chart. We did Bose apologizing, scrambling, trying to get her audience back because certain ones love Bose. I don't like Bose. This has already been disputed, y'all. There was a rumor that filmmaker Tyler Perry and Real Housewives of Atlanta alum Marlo were dating. That is false. That was an AI-generated image. They were in the same place. They were at some type gospel brunch. So Kirk Franklin was performing at the brunch. Now, what I found interesting, Tyler was seated between Jason Lee, mayor of Stockton, California, and also the creator of Hollywood Unlocked gossip site. Jason Lee, fill in the blanks, he was seated next to Tyler Perry, and on the other side was Marlo Hampton. Because Tyler has had some recent gossip and scuttlebutt about him, I would say that it spans back a decade or more. Read between the lines. So there was a viral photo of Marlo and Tyler Perry kissing. Now, what we know of Marlo is that she doesn't really pay attention to age, race, height, not much except for bank balance. So Tyler is still a billionaire, and he would be in a category that Marlo Hampton probably would be interested in spending a little time with. So I don't know. We know what they say Marlo, part of her job is. She has been called, I won't call a lady a madam. I don't like that terminology. But Marlo is someone that certain status of men will accompany and allow her to accompany them. for certain amount of change. Strange for change. So let's say that. Strange, do something strange for change. And it's not even strange. And $1 billion, that's not change. So Tyler, I don't know. You could have done something better than having an AI picture of it. That was a little strange. And then it was reported, was it Gary with the T? I think Gary with the T. No, Gary with the T had a false story about Candy's settlement, that $2 million settlement with Todd, which I called out as being too low. I think Candy wrote a check, but it's not for a cool million. In my opinion, it would be upwards of that. It could be 3, it could be 5, but I don't think that Todd Burris, this was a business transaction for him. Hopefully early on there was love. They do have 2 really cute, adorable children, you know, successful businesses. You know, time to time, certain things have happened with the businesses, but Todd has certainly helped Candy to grow her net worth and her outlook, even though she's always been a very hard worker, a hustler, and a multi-millionaire before she met him. So I'm not going to take that away from Candy Burris. Dear Yvette will keep me on track because Dear Yvette is girl power. I am as well, but I can't just ignore who and what Todd is. Right now, he's trying to pick Candy pockets, but I thought that $2 million was a little low. I think he got more than that. So let's see, if we are at an hour or so, this will be a good place to end. Yes, we actually, y'all, I actually hid the time, and I don't know why. That's not it right there. Jerry Vet was laughing. Mama Bees, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share the lives to keep the channel in the algorithm. Replay gang, please join the conversation and hype the video. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mama Bees. I think that's a good place to start because, again, stop. This started out as a Sandra P's discourse. I got in the political topics, hour and 12 minutes. Okay, so we went over the hour. That's pretty good. That's my goal, y'all. I'm trying to just manage my time a little bit better, but still get to increase my watch hours. And sometimes the longer lives will help me do that. Those of you that joined me during the live, I appreciate it. Team Replay that came in or coming in later, and you're watching me from the future, I appreciate you. So again, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the lives to keep the channel in the algorithm. Replay gang, please join the conversation. As you know, I answer all comments. I do engage in the comments and hype the video. Again, this was a Taco Tuesday, and that stands for a couple of things now. So T-word, always chickens out. We are getting purple hearts and prayers from Yvette. Yvette put something in here one time. She said she came in with like a hello and like a present. And I said, oh, she's bearing gifts or something like that. But it was like, she's saying, I'm present. So I found that pretty funny. Thank you so much, dear Yvette, for being in here during the live. I appreciate that. Great conversation. Yes, Mama Bees, the chat makes it all possible. My moderators as well. So thank you for being in here. Linda Gamble was here earlier. Anyone else that joined the live? I saw Ophelia Burkhart, dear Yvette, and let's see. Anybody else that was here. I don't want to miss anybody. So I think I've called all names, and I appreciate everybody. I will see you in the YouTube streets. I'm waiting on one of my favorite content creators, and I'm going to call her out because she deserves her time. If she doesn't want to come on and talk, we'll see her when we see her, and I more than likely will see you there. So everybody, if you haven't seen any of my other videos I've posted, go back and watch those. Hype, like, engage with me in the comments. And again, happy Taco Tuesday, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Just put a label on it, even if it doesn't change the circumstance. Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.